What is the full lore of my Godzilla? This will include games, comics, and the model of my Godzilla. Let's do comics, then games, then finally the model. So first, let's talk about my comics. So my comics, I was writing them since second grade when I was younger. Now, these comics weren't just Godzilla comics. They had a specific type of Godzilla model that I created. Now, I didn't just draw them in one go. I draw them in many goes and made them very humanoid-like since I didn't know how to draw Godzilla at that time. Since I didn't know how to draw Godzilla at that time, I came up with this model that's on the screen right now. And that model, it became what the model of Godzilla that I use basically every single day. My games and still my comics. I still write some comics. And yeah, that's my model of my comics. And then I used to write comics. Now, I did write tons of comics. Yeah, tons. I think so far I've wrote over 200. Yep, 200. Now, those comics has involved every single comic, and I have had the Godzilla series for 25 books, and I stopped it and created a new Godzilla series. This new Godzilla series was Godzilla King of the Monsters, but it was new and better. Better than my old comics that were just one picture a page, and now I have about 10 pictures a page, just like a comic. I'll arrange it like a comic, and now I would have my new era of comics. Now, let's go into my games. So, back in 2023, I wanted to create a game so I could get Robux and I could get attention and stuff like that. So I created a game, but I didn't know how. So I chose my terrain. When you first log onto Roblox, it would say your username's place. So I edited that, and all I did, I put a Godzilla morph. I published it and everything, and called it the Godzilla Roleplay. Now, the Godzilla Roleplay have been getting updates and has been evolving. I did do a remake update that remade the whole entire game and added maps, base plates, down and up from the avatar so that you could go around and morph into a morph. Now, the problem is I had free model morphs and I didn't give any credit because I was too young and I did not know how to do any of that. So when I did that, I didn't give any credit or anything. I just called it morphs and people would morph into them and play the game. Now I add teleports into different maps and all sorts of stuff, but most importantly, the morphs didn't have any actions. You would just walk around and type punch or something like that in the chat, but I needed actions. I needed stuff to actually do in the game. I needed something that people can have fun with. So what I did was I made a new update. I added more free model morphs. Yep. I rigged them, animated the moves and actions, and boom, just like that, I created my own actions, and I wasn't done yet. Now, I have done that, but I need to make my own models. So, what I did was I decided to make a new game. And yes, that new game was the Godzilla Roleplay 2.0. Now, this game didn't have my own models, but it had realistic models, like models that were made in Blender and other stuff like that. They were so realistic, and I could animate very well. I could also make actions for them too. So once I did that and published the game, I made one just giant map. But there was a problem. When I made them do sound, the sound wasn't usually that loud because the models were the literal size of the Godzilla characters in the movies. So you couldn't really hear the sounds, and that's why it was annoying. So what I did was I decided that I would just publish the game anyway. So when I published the game, it got a lot of people playing. It had at least 5 people playing every time you would check. It got to 15,000 visits, and then it got taken down due to copyright. Yep, it got taken down, and it was frustrating, but that's games and you'll learn from it. Now once that happened, I got really frustrated because of how good it was doing, so I made the Kaiju Tycoon. It wasn't RP, it wasn't anything. It was the Kaiju Tycoon. Now, the Kaiju Tycoon, it was just a normal Godzilla Kaiju Tycoon, and like, I kind of made my own models. I mean, what I did was I made a rig and I just put accessories about Godzilla from the Avatar shop to make it Godzilla. It's really that simple. Then I would animate it with the Tycoon and add weapons and all that stuff. Now, after that, I published the game and it wasn't doing very well. There was barely anyone playing it per day, and the sad thing is, it only got about 100 visits. So I just kept on updating it until I stopped at update 2. And then once I stopped, I worked on a new game. I had the idea of bringing my comic book characters on how I draw Godzilla and putting them into a game. So what I did was once I put them into my game, I made my own model, I made the animations, and I made the action menu. But the problem is, it didn't work sometimes. So that's when I really looked into the script and saw that it wasn't able to connect to the morph. So I was confused for a bit, and I stopped working on the game until I finally figured it out by just putting some scripts into the morph pad. And once I'd done that, I have created the Godzilla morph. Now I just need to make a map and then a spawn area so that you can morph into the morphs. So that's what I made, and then I published the game as the Kaiju Roleplay 2.0. Now, this game didn't have anyone playing, and then out of nowhere, the Godzilla Roleplay starts to have over 50 people playing at a time, and I'm confused. It hasn't updated in such a long time. It's been many months, but the thing it was Christmas vacation. It was around Christmas time when this happened, so what I did was I put this Godzilla game that I created and put it into that Godzilla roleplay. And once I'd done that, there was still over 50 people playing. Then I started updating it and so on and so on. It has been getting less people playing, but I will make more people play by my new game. Now, let's talk about where I got the model from. Now, how I got the model is pretty weird. So back when I was in second grade, I only knew how to draw stickmans and like stuff with like just line eyes and stuff like that. So I created a Godzilla with kind of half circle eyes and then a pupil that is just a line. Now it looked pretty good so far. And then I made the torso, which was just a normal stickman torso that I draw. Then I made an arm, 2 arms, and then I made a head, which was just a normal stickman head. And I didn't know how to draw a mouth at that time, so I just drew triangles, meaning teeth. Then I drew legs, a tail, and then boom, I have Godzilla. I also drew some spikes afterwards. I just made them triangles. So that's how I got the model. But that's not it. What about my other characters? So my other characters are very like part of my comic books, and they're all in my comics. Now they are very strong, I gotta say. Like Godzilla, don't ask why, but I made him travel through dimension. But yes. Now let me tell you the lore of Godzilla. Now, the lore of Godzilla. What is the full lore? Now, this lore isn't just any lore. It's pretty sad, not gonna lie. Now, first, when Godzilla was born, he and his mother had to be taken into a war. His mother put him into this little hideout spot so that he could hide out while in the war so that no one could attack him. Although, when she walked away, a bomb happened. Godzilla never saw her mom, or his mom again. Now, he has been waiting for many million years. But he has been hibernating that whole entire time under the ocean. Till finally, he goes up into the streets of Tokyo and he finds an adoption center. And at this time, he's still 3 feet. He hasn't ate any food yet. In my book, kaijus can go over 1 trillion years without food. Now, he just wants someone to help him and protect him. So he goes into the adoption center, and the guy there does not trust him and call him a dinosaur, but he promises that he won't do anything and that he will just stay there as a secret pet. So a girl comes. He finds his cage and then picks him out. Now she brings him to her home, and once she's at her home, they play for years and years until she disappeared and abandoned him. There's no real reason why she abandoned him, but he's been waiting for years as he finds food in the city and does actually grow up. Now, once he grows up, he wants to get his revenge on what all has happened. So he tries to take nuclear radiation to help him get stronger. Although that was quite a success, because once he'd done that, then he has gotten way more stronger than what he used to be. Now once that happened, he can now take on his foes that he later or earlier hated, such as King Ghidorah, which bullied him out on the streets, and much more. So he finds his gate, it opens, and then finds out it's Mothra. Mothra helps him out through his journey to kill everything that has been rude to him, such as Rodan too. And then once he finally defeats King Ghidorah and Rodan with his thermo ability, then it keeps on going. There's just too much evil in the world for him. So he fights kaijus, and finally there is still more evil. He doesn't know what to do, so he keeps on fighting. The end.